podcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Parents upset in Minnesota about their teenage son who apparently believes that he was born a girl or would like to be a girl. We don't know. Haven't actually had any comment from that individual in this story. But they're upset because apparently school bureaucrats assisted their son, who was 15 at the time when this started. According to the story, Mark, was it the Daily Caller that you have? According to that story, assisted him with getting gender-related drugs.
Gender reassignment-related drugs, right?
Yeah.
So hormones.
Yeah. Eventually, the young person, when he turned 18, did go ahead and go apparently under the knife. So he was pretty serious about it, or now she is pretty serious about it. If you want to comment, share your thoughts on this. Maybe it's as a person who is, you've had to deal with this within your own family, or perhaps you are a trans person. You want to weigh in, you're welcome to. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, you came at it from the perspective of, as a parent, as a homeowner, you get to set the rules for people that are staying in your home. Of course, in a lot of places, the individual who we're talking about, the teenager, doesn't have the freedom to go anywhere else. Because if they're like, well, I don't agree with your rules, Dad, I want to be a girl. And and you're like, well, no, son, you're not going to be a girl, not under my roof. Then they'll say, well, I'm leaving. And then the police will pick them up and return them to your home.
Rarely will the police pick them up and return them to the home. Okay, so
where else would they take them?
They won't pick them up. They won't spend any time on it at all.
You don't think?
There are kids all over America that go to major cities with the hopes that somehow they're going to have the freedom of, I presume their home life sucks. I don't know. Maybe they're just a-holes. But they leave home and they end up on the streets of major cities. Prostitution is in order, drugs, homelessness. There's a variety of outcomes here that are generally pretty awful.
Are you saying, though, Mark, that if parents report their kid, their teenager as missing, that the police won't do anything about that? Because I know around here they certainly have.
Well, they can only look so far. If you report them to the local cops and they decide to hang out downtown, they're liable to get returned.
Okay.
But if they're
so just you are admitting that they will return
15 years old, they can get across the country if they want to.
They could, I suppose.
And they do.
Yeah.
And there's whole communities of these people out there doing their thing, and life, I guess, is good enough that they're not willing to return home for whatever reason that might be.
Okay. Well, I see what you're saying. You're saying that if this person's in Minnesota... It's not like
there's no options. The options stink.
I see what you're saying, though. You're saying that if this young person leaves Minnesota and goes all the way to San Francisco or whatever, that the San Francisco police aren't going to make this a priority. I get what you're saying there. But if they do stay in town, there's a good chance that the police are going to return them to their parents' house. Not everybody's going to go all the way across the country just because they want to leave home. Some of them might just go across town.
Yeah, if you want to go across town, the chances are good you're not actually wanting to leave. Right?
Okay. I don't know if that's true, but it's just maybe that they don't have a vision to go out to some other state. Maybe they want to stay in a place with which they're familiar, where they have friends, rather than starting out anew somewhere else.
I left my house at 16 years old. I just didn't want to put up with the rules that there were. I ended up at a friend's house in their, sort of garage with an attached office. The office was turned into a bedroom for me, and I sort of had my own little place to go. It was the arrangement was my mom was amiable to the situation. She thought it would be
different.
A good idea for look. I mean, if you have crappy parents, you have crappy parents. I can't solve the crappy parents problem, but I can't solve the crappy kid problem either.
Yeah, and we don't know anything about these parents.
If there are such things as crappy parents, we need to acknowledge that there are such things as crappy kids.
For sure. In a lot of cases, they come from crappy parents.
Well, you can have the nature versus...
I suppose they could have been born bad, but I don't think that's very common.
The nature versus nurture argument. Oh, all humans are born bad. All right?
You think?
They're antisocial and selfish, destructive beings. Sure. Absolutely.
Well, they have to be socialized.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They have to be able to shown the consequences of their actions. They have to be shown that, these sorts of things, are important. And all I'm saying is that you can't lay everything at the door of any given parent.
No, I don't think
if a
you can.
kid acts poorly, it's not always the parent's fault. Sometimes it's just the kid.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that one. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can bring up whatever you want. Dave's in Colorado, and Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind tonight?
Eating. Sorry.
Oh, bad timing. He's got his mouth full. Well, at the very least, don't tease us, Dave. What is it that you have your mouth full of? What are you eating?
I guess it was broccoli and steak and peanuts.
Excellent. All right, go ahead with what you were calling about.
So, you're familiar with John Burt, the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance's Legislator of the Year.
Yeah, that's right. John is a A+ rated rep for his Liberty rating, and he was named Legislator of the Year. I was actually at the awards dinner, and I congratulated him personally for that because we've got some really great Liberty-friendly state reps here in New Hampshire.
So he has taken advantage of the current, as of a few days ago, at least it was current, gridlock at the State House, the standoff over the budget, to remind people that gridlock is good. This is the counterintuitive truth that most people, in the media especially, tend to sweep under the rug, but that's actually like as good as it gets in America or in any of the states, is if you have the government at, the equal balance of terror, the purple state, red and blue at each other's throats, equally unable to get anything done.
Yeah, it's the ideal situation for the bad scene that we have here in the United States. However, a more perfect situation, I think, from our perspectives, would likely be to actually have liberty-oriented people not in a gridlock, to actually have them take over the state house and take over
back of the state,
take over the governorship to where they could actually roll back the size of government. I think that would be the ideal situation, but given how difficult that is to achieve, the better point is to have the other two sides fighting with one another, never really being able to accomplish anything meaningful.
This is one of the things I like about Donald Trump. I'm not saying I'm some kind of sycophant for Donald Trump, but it's one of the things I like is that Donald Trump has to sign anything that's going to become law into law. And although I think he could have done a better job of draining the swamp with the power that he has from the presidency, I don't think he's done as good of a job as he could. Both sides, the Democrats more than the Republicans, but both sides really don't want to work with him. Meaning that in order to get anything done, they're going to have to, beat a veto-proof margin, and more or less, Washington's gridlocked. I consider that to be a good thing.
Well, now Dave was calling specifically about New Hampshire, but yes, it's a good thing in Washington. It's a good thing anywhere it happens if one political side or the other can't really achieve much of anything unless they have overwhelming support. In the example of New Hampshire, of course, they did actually achieve the rolling back of the death penalty this year. So they did have enough, both Democrats and Republicans, to override the governor's veto, making New Hampshire, I believe, the 21st or 22nd state, I think, to end the death penalty. Dave, thanks for calling and sharing that good news here with us tonight. Appreciate it. That's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. As we continue here, you're welcome to share your thoughts with us, whether it's on transgenderism or parents and teenagers fighting it out, government taking sides. That's what the story was out of Minnesota. We can continue with all that or talk about the border or whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101 Reasons.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about young people, specifically in this case a teenager, 15 years old, who wanted to change his gender. And apparently school bureaucrats in Minnesota decided they were going to help him along without informing his parents about what was happening. If you want to comment on that, you're certainly welcome to do so. It raises a discussion about, when can somebody make a decision for themselves? It's not so much about age of consent, because that usually surrounds sexual topics. In this case, we're just talking about them making a decision for themselves with their own body. Not anything else, nothing on the outside going into the body, just what can they do with their own body and under their parents' roof. And one of the things that most parents have their kids do is brush their darn teeth. And I'll tell you one thing, they're not going to complain about My Magic Mud, I don't think, because it's fun. It's fun to use. If I were a kid, I would have a blast with My Magic Mud, making a big old mess with the black tooth powder, and it's just different with that black tooth powder. It's
if you've
really
got a
neat.
kid like Ian, send him outside with My Magic Mud. So what My Magic Mud is it's a black tooth powder that's made of charcoalized coconut shell husks and bentonite clay.
Yeah.
And when you brush your teeth with it, It's black and splattery.
It can be a little messy.
And
but that's just because you don't get to see the same mess if you're using normal white toothpaste, right? Like, it's going to be splattery too, but your porcelain white isn't going to show it as much.
I think that My Magic Mud is so there's no foam. They put foaming agents in regular toothpaste. So the foam kind of holds things together and makes it less splattery. My Magic Mud, it mixes with your saliva. It's just some black powder that mixes with your saliva. So it can be, I think, more splattery.
Could be.
My trick is just to keep my mouth shut when I do it, and to keep my lips pursed around the toothbrush so that I'm not making any kind of mess at all. Then when I'm done with my 2 minutes of brushing that my little Sonicare toothbrush tells me I have done, then if I haven't taken my heart medication, my high blood pressure medication, within the last 2 or 3 hours, then I just go ahead and swallow the My Magic Mud. It's got bentonite clay. I'm feeding that to, I was feeding that to livestock anyway. This stuff's good for you as far as it goes. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth. And beyond that, I'm certain that it gets my teeth cleaner. Like, this is my experience. I've been using this stuff for more than half a decade, and I've never been without it since I got my first container. I make sure I order it because it's important to me to have it. It's sold at most major health food stores, Amazon, Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, Walmart's Natural Beauty aisle. But you can get it at mymagicmud.com with a coupon code of FTL and get 20% off. I'm sorry, the coupon code is FTL20. So use coupon code FTL20 and you'll get 20% off at mymagicmud.com. If you listen to nothing that I say on the air other than this, listen to this. My Magic Mud is a product that is so great, I won't be without it again. And I think you should have it too. mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL20.
All right, so let's see. Is there more to this story that you wanted to share out of Minnesota with the parents suing?
I think we've basically got it. A 15-year-old who's now 18 wanted to get a sex change. The school bureaucrats decided to help with hormones and narcotics. And the mother's a little miffed, as you can imagine, and thinks that the United States Supreme Court ought to take a look at this, and I think they should too. Because
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what I want to know is, what did the lower court say? I mean, she's already...
Clearly, if they're going to the Supreme Court, the lower court said it was fine.
Well, I understand that, but I would like to know what their rationale was. Where were they coming from legally on that?
I don't know. I can't tell you. This is
what was the name of the case? I know you didn't want to give their name earlier, but I have to say I'm honestly curious. That way people can actually look this up.
Sure. I'd be happy to. The one thing I looked up to find it was Thomas More Society because they were handling it. But Anne Marie, and there's not two N's in Anne in that case, Calgaro.
Okay. And so Anne Marie is one word?
Yeah, Anne Marie is one word.
Gotcha.
And, I think that for me, I think Anne Marie's right. I think that while somebody's living under your roof, you get to decide. Maybe it's the terrible devastation of having to start your sex change operations after the age of 18, but I don't know how else to solve that. I don't have a good overarching societal solution for what happens if a parent doesn't want to help a kid go through sex changes at 14, 15, 16 years old. I get that things happen between the ages of 15 and 18 that are sort of irreversible and important from the standpoint of, growing into a man.
Sure, these are the times when a young person wants to be an adult in a lot of cases. They want to have more responsibility. They want to be respected in the decisions that they make. And going against their parents' wishes in a lot of cases is a rite of passage, it seems like, to some extent in our culture these days. But if the parent doesn't go along with this, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily the right choice to change one's gender. That's a very serious decision to make, and I think that it's important to impart the level of seriousness that, hey, look, this is a pretty big decision. Maybe you should wait and think about it. Kind of like getting a tattoo, but even more serious of a decision.
Right. I mean, tattoos aren't allowed until you're 18 years old. I don't know what
or with the parental consent, right?
I presume.
So if the parent goes against the wishes of their son or daughter in this circumstance. That's probably going to cause even more strife at home. It's probably going to divide, maybe make wider whatever divide might have already existed between the parent and their child, or in this case, again, not a child, but their teenager in this case, and that's going to probably make the relationship even more strained than before. So I mean, there's no real good answer here. There's the answer of it's my house and I make the rules, and that is the truth.
There's the answer of it's my body and I get to choose.
That's right.
Those are both legitimate complaints. However, if you can't work to support that body that you claim is yours,
legally, the government makes that difficult. So the government is part of the problem. The state government is part of the problem here, whether it be federal or state or local. By restricting teenagers in the freedoms that they have, the government refuses to allow young people to mature at their own rate. They say, no, you can't work like other people work. You're only 15. You need to have a break every 2 hours or 3 or whatever it is.
Right.
It's some amount of hours. You've got to have at least 15 minutes every X amount of hours. And whoa, you can't work past 6 p.m. on a school night. Whoa, we can't allow these things. You can't make your own decisions for yourself. So the individual is prohibited legally in a lot of cases from actually doing what you're suggesting, and that is taking on that responsibility for themselves. They have no opportunity to actually do that, even if their parents would allow them to do so.
Well, so if their parents want them to work, then they could homeschool them.
They could,
and then the young person could work, and
but even in some states, there's a large amount of restrictions on homeschool.
No doubt that the state as an organization is far too intrusive in our lives and our families. I'm not claiming that it's otherwise. What I would say is that if you can't plan far enough in advance to say, I'll take my classes at such and such a time, and then I'll take the afternoon off and then be able to go work some more or anything like that. You're not ready to make the decision as to whether or not to cut off your junk and run around in somebody else's clothes. I'm in support of people who want to change of adults that want to change their gender, and I'm of the opinion that the term adult is on a sliding scale. There are young people at the age of 15 that can conduct themselves like adults,
and there are people in their 30s that can't.
25-year-olds that are a bunch of freaking children.
Absolutely.
But I can't do anything to restrict the 25-year-olds, and I don't like any particular age for solving any particular problem. But as the parent here, I would be very upset if the school decided to help my 15-year-old begin the process of transitioning into a woman.
How do you feel about it? You're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, a state rep in Tennessee is in hot water over getting on Grindr. We'll tell you about it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNLife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I've treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNLife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state, until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to blackriflerealestate.com. That's blackriflerealestate.com.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
Porcupine Real Estate. Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free live Saturday edition continues here. We can talk more about another Supreme Court case, this one having to do with Donald Trump and the border wall. That's on the way here tonight. With you, it's Ian
and Mark.
And, of course, don't forget you can join us over at freetalklive.com. And you can also not only enjoy all the great features on our website for free, but you can also back up the show with a contribution every month. It's up to you if you want to join the AMP program like Joe has done. He is a Free Talk Live Gold amplifier. Joe is giving us $10 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And the idea is you can help support our mission here on Free Talk Live. Spread the ideas of liberty and peace, cryptocurrency and freedom as far and as wide as we can. We've got over 200 great radio stations that air this show at various times throughout the week, and we can get to 300. It's eminently possible. There's several hundred stations that are out there, and so 300 is a doable number. But we do need to have, it would be helpful to have your support because that's our marketing budget. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can help us out there, and you get some cool perks, some benefits for being an amplifier, like Joe. So go to amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. PayPal, credit card, and Bitcoin BTC are your options to join. That's amp.freetalklive.com. As we continue here, you're still welcome to comment on the initial discussion about the gender changing without parents' consent, bureaucrats getting involved in Minnesota. And our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. In other news from, LGBTQNation.com, that should give you an idea of the skew of this particular news article about Carrie Wade Gervin? No, that's who wrote the article. A longtime political reporter who covers Tennessee news, politics, and gossip site The Dog and Pony Show has accused 59-year-old Tennessee State Representative Bill Sanderson of, quote, openly soliciting sex and sending, quote, sexually explicit messages and pictures to men almost 40 years his junior, while voting repeatedly in favor of anti-LGBTQ legislation. Mr. Sanderson resigned And this was on July 24th that he resigned, so just a few days ago.
He probably didn't resign because he's tired of these accusations.
He says he's resigning to run his business, Mark. He's busy at the White Squirrel Winery that he runs. And Gervin claims that his resignation was partly in response to the revealing of his same-sex encounters.
Seems like an odd time for that to occur.
Yeah, quite a coincidence. In January 2014, the gossip blog The Dirty published messages that Sanderson allegedly sent to an unnamed male Vanderbilt student, in which Sanderson writes that he is a state rep representing Obion Lake and Dyer counties, which is his district. But while Grindr messages are easily faked, the author says that, quote, the Grindr and text messages I have seen do appear to be authentic. They use Sanderson's real cell phone number. Sources confirm having been told about the messages at the time by their friends who received them, and one man I interviewed said he met Sanderson at his farm in Kenton. So it sounds like not only was he messaging people on Grindr, which for those who don't know is a gay hookup app, as I understand it. I don't know if dating goes on Grindr or if it's just sex. I have no idea. But I think it's only for gay men. I don't think that that gay women go on Grindr. Again, I don't know. It's just what I've heard. In his alleged profile, Sanderson reportedly calls himself Brian and describes himself as being in an open relationship. He has reportedly sent images of his...
If somebody says they're in an open relationship, you really need to discuss that with their partner.
Just to prove it?
Yeah, because I think the chances are somewhere around 50-50.
That they're telling the truth?
That they're just full of crap. That they're just a person who wants to cheat.
He has reportedly sent images of his naked torso and genitals, photos which he claims were faked, with images from his Facebook. He has allegedly asked men to contact him at a phone number connected to the winery. Sanderson's Grindr profile reportedly read, quote, I'll see if I can... I don't know how much of this I can read. I've seen a lot and done a lot, but I really haven't had a connection with a guy, and I have a burning desire to have that relationship. I like down and dirty guy-to-guy play too, so I guess you might say nothing will be held back. Sanderson is claiming the profile images and messages are fake. Gervin writes, quote, Sanderson says he was not in an open relationship and told me if I published the story it would ruin his marriage. He denied being either bisexual or gay or having ever sexually touched a man. So what do you think, Mark? Do you think this is the truth, or are some people who just hate this state representative concocting a fake story about him?
Well, from the way the story is written, and that's all I got to go on, I would say that the timing of him leaving office, if it is not indicative of the fact that he did this, it was a poor choice on his part because he has made himself appear guilty. So I'm going to go guilty based on the information that I have.
Gervin also
Not to say that there's anything particularly wrong with being gay.
No.
There is certainly something wrong with cheating on your wife.
No doubt. I would, to me, this is always amusing whenever these anti-gay people who make a big to-do. Because, look, if you want to go have sex with somebody who's the same gender, that's your business. I don't care.
Nope.
But if on the other hand...
Libertarians are unlikely to care.
If, on the other hand, you speak out against being gay, if, on the other hand, you sign legislation or sponsor legislation or support legislation as a politician that specifically targets gay people, discriminates against them or whatever, if you're speaking out against gayness, and then all of a sudden you get caught,
being gay,
playing footsie with
it's pretty clear that you are actually what the definition of homophobic is. So homophobic really means that somebody who appears, for all intents and purposes, to be against gays, but is then gay.
Really? I didn't know that was the definition of homophobic.
Yeah, that's the indication behind it. Maybe I need to look up.
I thought it was just somebody who is angry or afraid towards gay people.
In most cases,
that's what a phobia would be.
That's what it is.
Well, in that case, what they are is they just hate themselves, right? They're afraid.
Well, they think they're doing something wrong.
Right. They're afraid of, for whatever reason, maybe they were programmed that way by their church or something like that, their parents or grandparents or whatever. They believe they're doing something wrong, so on the outward front, they make it look like they're not what they actually are driven to be, and then their hypocrisy, in some cases, gets shown clearly for all to see, and it's really ridiculous. There's a little bit more here. Gervin also writes that she has spoken.
Nobody seems to support my definition of homophobia.
What is the definition you've pulled up?
Basically, people who
who are afraid.
Yeah, afraid.
Right.
I've actually popped onto another website here.
That's
definition
generally what
is the fear, hatred,
phobia
or
is.
discomfort or mistrust of people who are lesbian, gay, or bisexual. So there you go.
Yeah. Now, whether or not some of them are actually secretly gay is, another question. In this case, they say that an unnamed UT Martin student spoke with the author, who claims that he connected with Sanderson on Grindr several years ago when he was 19. That is to say, the student. The student says Sanderson met him at his winery and gave him a tour and wine to drink and take home. Later, he said Sanderson massaged his shoulders and otherwise hit on him in a manner that made him feel uncomfortable. Well, that's strange. What was the purpose of your meeting? What were you expecting to happen when you went to go meet?
What are you going to Grindr for if that's not what you're expecting to have happen?
Right, that's a strange claim. The meeting was allegedly interrupted when Sanderson's wife unexpectedly returned home. Irvin writes that he was...
goodbye. I'll bet that made him uncomfortable.
He was pressured by the legislator to make up a story on the fly about why he was on the property.
I would never have to make up a story about some male being at my house because
he's the pool boy.
I have no pool.
In 2011, Sanderson voted against allowing cities to adopt anti-LGBT discrimination ordinances. In 2012, he voted for an abstinence-only sex ed bill that banned discussion of gateway sexual activity. In 2016, he signed a resolution denouncing the U.S. Supreme Court's gay marriage ruling and supported a bill allowing therapists to turn away gay clients in violation of the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics. This year, he voted to...
Hold on. So I would say that a therapist should be able to turn away whomever they wish.
I agree.
However... If they've
joined an association,
certification from this organization, then that organization says they have to see all sorts of people or whatever their claims are. Then if you want the cert, I support the organization in their criteria. So as far as I'm concerned, this comes down to private property rights. If you want to discriminate against people in your life, then you should be able to do that. If you want to live the life you want, you should be able to do that, but nobody should have to support you in it.
He also, this year, voted to defend schools that refuse bathroom access to trans students, signed a watered-down anti-trans bathroom bill, and voted to allow adoption agencies to discriminate against same-sex couples. So, whether or not you support or disagree or agree with some of these issues, because libertarians would say, yeah, if an adoption agency wants to discriminate, they should be free to discriminate. But, of course, there's all these government rules that come into play when it comes to who can adopt and who can run an agency and all that. Some more coming up here, and we're going to the border on the way, unless you want to talk about hypocritical Republican senators or state representatives. Maybe there's some Democrats out there too. Hypocritical politicians who do one thing and say another. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Hour 2 is next. It's the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, edgewallet.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,418. Silver at $16.38, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,142. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime personal pilots have been subpoenaed by federal prosecutors in Manhattan, according to the Wall Street Journal. The grand jury subpoenas were served earlier this month following Epstein's July 6 arrest in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking minors. He has pleaded not guilty to the years-long scheme in which prosecutors allege the wealthy financier sexually abused dozens of young girls from 2002 to 2005, some of whom recruited other victims. The Mind Unleashed reports it's unknown how many of Epstein's pilots were subpoenaed, or whether they're cooperating witnesses. According to court documents from prior cases, Epstein employed David Rogers, Larry Vasosky, Larry Morrison, and Bill Hammond as pilots and flight engineers. Rogers, Vasosky, and Morrison have previously testified in civil depositions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. In the latest move to undermine the separation of church and state in the United States, a new law in South Dakota is requiring all public schools in the state to prominently display the motto, "In God We Trust." The Mind Unleashed reports the new law, which decrees that schools must emblazon the message across 149 South Dakota school districts, was pushed by lawmakers who argue that the theological slogan is meant to inspire patriotism. Governor Kristi Noem signed off on the law in March. The law requires that the motto must be both legible and 12 by 12 inches in size. In a Thursday Twitter post, the governor said, quote, "We should never be afraid to proclaim that we are one nation under God," end quote. The new law has provoked controversy in many of the state's communities, with critics condemning the law as part of a stealth campaign aiming to infuse religious indoctrination into state legislation. In a bipartisan deal that one anti-war critic said demonstrates how thoroughly broken and captured Washington is by the Pentagon, 219 House Democrats and 65 Republicans on Thursday voted to approve a budget agreement that includes $1.48 trillion in military spending over the next 2 years. Just 16 Democrats, including Representatives Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, voted against the 2-year, $2.7 trillion budget agreement. Largely due to expressed concerns about the deficit, 132 Republicans also voted no. The final vote was 284 to 149. The House passage of the budget deal, which President Donald Trump quickly applauded on Twitter as a victory for the military, comes after the Congressional Progressive Caucus threatened in April to tank the measure. But most of the Progressive Caucus voted for the agreement on Thursday, pointing to increases in domestic spending. Facebook has dealt a massive blow to the police accountability movement, unpublishing Police to Police, the largest police accountability page on the platform. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
5-Hour Energy CEO Manoj Bhargava claimed this week that the 13 deaths associated with his product were just collateral damage in his company's ongoing war against that 230 feeling. Quote, "We honor the sacrifice of all those who have fallen. I wish we could live in a world where you could get a spike of energy and no crash and not die. But that's not the world we live in." Passionate supporters have flooded social media, demonstrating the terrifying costs of midday drowsiness and fatigue, with consumers saying that when it comes to extra alertness in the mid-afternoon, they are willing to pay any price.
As the wife of a 5-hour energy drinker, we've had to sacrifice a lot in the name of long-lasting bursts of energy that carry you out of the workday and into the evening. We knew the risks going in.
Bhargava says his company has no plans to stop until the 230 feeling is completely wiped off the map, at which point they will turn their attention to that 330 feeling, 430 feeling, and people with a case of the Mondays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here if you want. Take control of the airwaves. Bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 as we launch into the second hour of this live Saturday edition. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And so we got another Supreme Court case. This one was a close decision, 5-4 was the vote.
You know how I hate those.
How do you hate those?
Well, the idea that you basically have a 9-person appointed lawmaking body here in the United States, and a straight 5-4 vote disturbs me because you have presumably the greatest legal minds in the country. I don't believe that for a second, legal minds that are listening. But presumably the greatest legal minds in the country are sitting there, and they cannot agree, and the decision is split 5-4. I think that...
Well, it just goes to show that all law is opinion.
All law is opinion. And as far as I'm concerned, if you can't get a 9-zip on a law, it shouldn't be one.
Well, that'd be nice. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Not only can you have laws voted in by just 51% in most cases, it's also decided by a small majority.
Yeah, bare majority.
Yeah. In this case, they have given temporarily a green light to the Trump administration to reallocate $2.5 billion in Pentagon military funds for construction of a border wall.
Oh, well, in this case, I actually agree with the legal arguments in the border wall with the military thing.
I don't know what the legal arguments are. Have you read the case?
They're relatively similar. So, no, I never read the cases.
Okay.
I only
you read a summary of the case?
Yeah, I've read a summary of the case.
All
and
right.
basically, the presumption is that the military can build walls. Right? Like a military could go out into a national park and build a wall.
Yeah, they did one in Louisiana. Remember, that's one of the things that failed during Hurricane Katrina?
They built a levee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the military can build walls. If the military decides to build walls within, as an exercise, quote unquote, right? There's the air quotes going around it. They decide to build a wall along the southern border. They're just doing the things that militaries do. Militaries build all kinds of walls. So
I wouldn't want them building a wall through my property.
Well, no, I don't think that I think that there's, eminent. I do not agree with eminent domain.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that the military should be able to build walls. I do not agree that building the wall is a good idea. I do not think that Trump's idea, I think he has to do it because he's promised it so thoroughly, and it's going to make it look like his presidency's failed if he doesn't get it done. But I think building
Well, he ain't going to get it done.
He's going to build something. He's already built some
Dude,
wall.
We're talking about the government here, right? Like the government, the U.S. government or any government in general, they just suck at everything they do. They're slow, they're expensive, they're incompetent. The idea that anything's going to get built by the end of 2020, I don't buy it. This is the government we're talking about.
You also have to deal with the situation of, I can't remember the name of the Indian tribe that spans the border. There's an Indian tribe that I think it's Arizona, that goes across the border of the United States. As far as I'm concerned, this is a nation, and you can't just wander on in and build a wall in between their communities. These people are used to crossing back and forth. They don't even call it a border. It's home. It's their Indian nation, and so I have a problem with that. I didn't get to say the reason I disagree with a wall is because you can't just build a wall and expect the wall to stay up. They don't just build walls around prisons and then send the guards home. Walls.
So you're not saying you want to have a wall with a bunch of guards on it?
No, I'm saying that if you build a wall, you must put guards on it.
Well, now you're talking about making the Border Patrol 20,000 times larger than it is.
That's not my solution.
Yeah,
my solution is that you open up the borders, you let free people cross the borders of free countries freely. You give them nothing. As a matter of fact, make it a felony if they avail themselves of any government program at all, and let them know that there'll be no opportunity for them to vote in their lifetimes.
Let's continue here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join the discussion on this, we haven't gotten into the details on the case yet, but the $2.5 billion in Pentagon military funds can be allocated for construction of a border wall, according to the court's conservative majority. This is ABC News' report, by the way. Siding with the White House, lifted a lower court injunction that had temporarily put a hold on the move as the case proceeds. Quote, the government has made a sufficient showing at this stage that the plaintiffs have no cause of action to obtain review of the acting secretary's compliance with Section 8005. I have no idea what that means. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sotomayor and Kagan would have denied the move. Stephen Breyer also opposed lifting the injunction in full, saying he would have preferred to allow the government to finalize the contracts for the wall, but not yet begin construction pending the outcome in the case. So this sounds like a early, like maybe an interlocutory appeal in a different case that hasn't been settled yet. The Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco will hear the case next on the merits. President Donald Trump swiftly issued a victory tweet writing, "Wow, big victory on the wall. The United States Supreme Court overturns lower court injunction, allows southern border wall to proceed."
I don't think he has a hope in the Ninth Circuit.
Big win for border security, he says, and the rule of law.
I'm not sure how the rule of law comes into play here, but all right.
It's just something politicians like to say.
Yeah.
Let's go to John. He's in Dover, Delaware. John, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd like to start by concurring on the statement that the federal government sucks at everything that it does. It seems to fail in every single area that it touches. Am I right?
Yeah, well, that's just true of all governments. I mean, it's certainly true. If they throw enough money at something, they'll be able to build a thing, right? Like if you give a private company a construction contract enough money, they're going to get a road built or a wall or whatever.
Of course they are. If they offered me enough cash, I'm sure I could throw together a crew of guys to go down there and
go hire some Mexicans and grab some bricks and build the wall.
You're damn right I would. Those guys work harder than anybody else out here on the construction site anyway.
And you know that's what's going to happen, right? As they're building the wall, it's going to be probably some Mexicans building the wall.
People of Mexican descent.
You know that's right.
But no, you're absolutely right, John. They're terrible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to touch on a topic real quick, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, please.
It's kind of changing the subject.
No, that's fine. You're welcome to do that here.
Thank you very much, fellas. I heard recently that statistically the Department of Justice did some sort of study, and that it showed that white American males are the leading terrorist group in our country at the current time. And I just want to say, I don't see these white terrorist groups anywhere. I don't hear about them. I don't understand what they're doing to the white man. I'm not a racist, but I am a white man. And we're not allowed to be proud of being a white American male. If we are, for God's sakes, we're racist bigots. It's ridiculous, man. They want us to be ashamed of our culture, and I'm not going to do it. How about you guys?
I don't really care about my color, as it were. I mean, obviously, culture means, I guess, the culture is difficult to define. It historically has meant religion and language. So if you share a religion and a language with somebody culturally, you're the same. But for me, I don't really care about my color, obviously, I think in modern day culture, sort of means people who agree with me. And I like people who agree with me to surround me as much as anybody does. I'd like you to move up to New Hampshire. You and I sound like we agree on lots of things. We'll chit chat and that kind of stuff. However, when I kind of, the way I see it is if you're identifying with your color or your ethnicity or whatever, you're probably pretty boring. That's where I sort of stop on this. I'd much rather I'll talk to you about anything but this particular topic because it's, to me, so, not that I won't talk to you about this topic. I find it boring. So if somebody says,
I get it. I completely get it. And please don't get my words twisted, please. No, I'm not a white pride kind of guy. I just don't want to be ashamed of being a white guy. I don't want to. You shouldn't have to skulk about. People looking at me.
There are certainly people. There are people on the internet that will say mean things about you because of your color and gender, and it seems okay to do that as long as that color is white and that gender is male. And, there's one thing, there's a difference between equality and attacking whomever you believe is in power. And I don't think we get to equality through attacks. And some people do. So I have to agree with him on this, but again, somebody who identifies as a lesbian black woman, I just don't care. Let's talk about anything else.
John, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com. Free Talk Live.
We're talking about the immigration situation here in this country. Now, Jeff, you have a 5-point plan. I'd like for you to go over the 5 points again.
Oh, sure. Hold on. I just got to turn to the page.
That's fine. And if you, he's got pages worth of
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Number one, close the borders. Put up a barrier on the border. And I mean
a
barrier.
Like a great wall?
Yeah, a great wall, barrier, stone wall.
Right.
I mean, something that's secure. And then you put a moat underneath.
Holy crap. Alligators in the moat?
All right. Now, you've got more, though, right? We got a wall and a moat, and then what?
You can put sensors on there. The motion detector.
Motion tracking machine guns, too. Spit out some 50 cals at them if it moves.
Ninjas. That's what we need. We just need ninjas mounted at 10-foot intervals along this wall.
The border ninjas.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, and it is the live Saturday edition of the show. Our toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And also want to make sure you know about local.bitcoin.com. It is where you can go to easily trade Bitcoin Cash, to buy and or sell Bitcoin Cash with dozens of payment methods, including cash deposit at banks, remittances, meeting in person with cash, and some more risky ones like PayPal and Venmo as well. There's no ID requirements in order to sign up for the site. You have your communications between buyer and seller encrypted, so it's probably the most private trading platform that I'm aware of, beyond a truly decentralized exchange, and those really haven't taken off quite yet. Go to local.bitcoin.com and get started trading, buying and selling Bitcoin Cash. That's local.bitcoin.com. I've done it, and I've got ads up there, I think, almost every day. In fact, a couple of our co-hosts, Rich, or now known as Nobody, and Arya are doing very, very well. At least they were on there. Unfortunately, PayPal has shuttered both of their accounts. So do be aware that if you decide to take this very seriously and do a lot of transactions, that may result in an account being shut down. So you might want to know that before you get into it.
Likely will.
Yeah. Local.bitcoin.com. As we continue here, there's a court ruling by the Supreme Court that I really don't know a whole lot about the case on which they've ruled, but apparently the Pentagon now has the green light to allocate $2.5 billion of their funds for construction of a border wall. It was a 5-4 vote. In this case, Trump has issued, of course, a victory tweet. The ruling came in a lawsuit filed by the ACLU on behalf of the Sierra Club and Southern Border Communities Coalition, which challenged the president's use of emergency powers for border wall funds that Congress had denied him. In a statement following the decision, Dror, D-R-O-R, Dror Layden, a staff attorney with the ACLU's National Security Project, said the group would ask the Ninth Circuit to expedite the appeals process. This is not over, Layden vowed in the statement. So does this mean that the wall's going to begin construction, or is it just that they're authorized?
It sounds like they're able to buy some of the materials, and from what I can tell, the president is the commander-in-chief, and the commander-in-chief can say to the military, "All right, boys, we're building battlements or walls or whatever," and there's nothing that Congress or anybody could say about that. Honestly.
If you want to join the discussion, you are welcome to do so. Let's go to the phones and to your calls and thoughts about whatever's on your mind. Frankie is there in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, listening to WRNN. Go ahead, Frankie.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. What's on your mind?
All right, brother. I just wanted to say I served in the military for 13 years with the Coast Guard, and at the latter part of my career, I served along the Rio Grande with Customs and Border Protection.
So
and
I didn't even know that the Coast Guard was on the, I guess, navigable rivers. Is the Rio Grande navigable?
It is not necessarily navigable, but the reason that we do interdisciplinary missions, I guess you would call them, is we specialize in drug and addiction. So we're utilized quite often with Customs and Border Protection.
Okay.
So having said that, for about 5 or 6 years at the twilight of my career, I was fortunate to serve with those guys along the southern border. And I have a very unique perspective. As you know, I'm sure if you got 5 Customs and Border Protection guys all together, we would probably all disagree. But the truth of the matter is, it is not as bad as the president makes it out to be. If you listen to the rhetoric that comes out of the White House, you would think, it looks like World War Z when you standing over there and just immigrants climbing over the wall and falling over each other. And it's literally the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
And I also had another point I wanted to make. If you look at today's politics and people, my coworkers, friends, buddies of mine, they want to know why the majority of black people aren't really engaged with immigration. And
when you say engaged with immigration, what do you mean?
Well, as far as it's not so if you ask the average African American living in the inner city or upper middle class or middle class, immigration is not our number one issue, because immigration is constantly polling number one as far as Americans, what their concern is. If you separate it for African Americans, that is probably like number 10 on our list. And the reason that always falls last is because we have a unique perspective of feeling like we're not wanted in this country. And we know what it feels like, for everyone and anyone to come up with all kind of reasons why we should be sent back to wherever it is we came from. So that's,
where'd you come from?
We have, I came from Brooklyn, but I'm talking about my ancestors.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You damn Yankees.
I come in peace. But yeah, I just, it's just, that's constantly why, African Americans are always polling high with Democrats. It's not because they have a monolith, over us, and, we're brainwashed. It's that, they're usually more in line with the way we think. So I appreciate you guys taking my call, man.
I get it. Thank you.
Thanks, Frankie. Appreciate you calling in. If you want to join us, you can there. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
I don't know. I guess there's nothing left to say about what Frankie said. I think that what he said probably sums stuff up. I mean, how can I possibly speak to what he says there? It's his feelings, and his feelings are as his feelings are, and I suspect he's probably right that there are plenty of black people out there that do not feel that they're entirely welcome in the country, and I get where they're coming from. I mean, I've heard those conversations.
Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. David is in New Mexico, listening to KENN. Hello, David.
Hey, yeah, that parental consent thing. Let me add on to what you're saying. First of all, the Russian Revolution, the peoples behind that, and there were several different factions, and I'm no expert on it, so anybody's welcome to correct me. But the way I see it, that movement has been going on continuously in various ways ever since, and they're not really now trying to make Russia a communist country, but they are trying to make this country a communist country as well as elsewhere. And that's where this force is coming from with the parental consent thing you're talking about. In my assessment, that faction, along with other factions joining them, and the parental consent to get a sex change issue, along with, for instance, parental consent to get an abortion if you're 12 years old or 13 years old, without your parents even knowing about it, let alone consenting to it, in direct contrast to what kind of permissions you need to get, for instance, to get an aspirin from the school nurse. But what that is, I believe, is an attempt to, by those powers that I alluded to.
Hold that thought. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy.
DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dynavite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic
and Cindy Lukasevic,
inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Our toll-free number here for you is 855-450-FREE. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms, and they're open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian and Mark in the studio with you here tonight.
If you've been paying any attention to gold and silver markets, you've probably been seeing some movement, some volatility. I think that some people are probably thinking that this bull run that has been going on in the stock market may be coming to an end? Look, I don't know. I wouldn't claim to know. But there's definitely the pricing of gold has been headed upward. And you may want to take a look. McIlvaney ICA has a free report for you to download if you'd like to learn more about investing in precious metals. The report is the 6 advantages of adding precious metals to an IRA and how you can double your ounces. And McIlvaney has pioneered this whole notion of switching back and forth between gold and silver at the right times in order to increase your holdings. Because if you buy an ounce of gold, you have an ounce of gold. But if you trade that gold for silver at the right time and then gold for the right time and the silver for the right time, then you might have 2 ounces of gold before it's all over. You can get online at icagoldsilver.com. McIlvaney ICA is also offering a free portfolio review, so you can call them up and tell them what you got going on. If you've got an IRA, they can help you with it. They are America's foremost precious metals advisors and have been since 1972. ICA pioneered and practices leading strategies for compounding ounces. They've been helping people take delivery of precious metals with both domestic and international fine storage options for decades. They also have helped thousands of investors with precious metals IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report at icagoldsilver.com. 800-525-9556 or icagoldsilver.com.
All right, we continue here talking about the idea of parents and consent. We had an issue come up in the last hour. I think it was the last hour. Anyway, it was about a young person, age 15, who had wanted to change his gender. The school bureaucrats were secretly assisting him with this process against what would have been the wishes of his parents. Ended up going to court. David, you were commenting generally about parental consent. What were you getting at there? We were up against the clock. Can you kind of briefly recap and then continue?
Yeah, I'll continue on. There's a couple points remaining. So, like I said, the powers that be that I described, I think that they, well, first of all, the way their MO, one good analogy is like a mouse trying to get into your house. They poke and they prod and they check here and they check there and they test here and they test there to see where they can get in. Or in a contemporary analogy, like a hacker that's poking and prodding your system, trying to find an unsecured way in. And that's how I see these people. And they look at things like our laws, our Constitution. And one weakness regarding this parental stuff is, if you look at the Constitution, I think the people that wrote it, and I know you don't agree with it, but it's what we have it.
It's the highest law in the land. Hard to argue that.
Right. And so what I think that the people that created that document, that contract, as I see it, I think they were completely oblivious to the possibility that anybody in the future would attempt to mess with someone's children. And granted, there were already some abuses of parental rights back in that day. For instance, women really didn't have any right to their own children. They were completely belonging to the father virtually. But I don't think they foresaw what could be done, and so they didn't write more specific direction into those documents. And I also think that when they wrote life, liberty, property, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, I think that they thought that covered that. And since it wasn't super explicit, the rats that I'm referring to, the mice, the hackers in the form of what I see as communists trying to get in and tear that all down, they're exploiting those oversights, the way I see it. And so that's the MO. And what they get out of it is, if they can drive a wedge and separate the control. I mean, there's already animosity often between teenagers and parents. And so I think what they're doing is pouring gasoline on that situation to further inflame it and drive a greater wedge between parenthood and children.
That sounds like what they're doing. I mean, like you said, these people want to get involved in people's lives as much as possible. They want to have as much control as they possibly can. They certainly want to have as much influence as they can, because government schools and government schools are about indoctrination, and government in general is about control and obedience.
Right, and I would say that young people, I've met lots of homeschooled young people, and they don't seem to have the same issues with their parents as their institutional schooled brethren. Now, I would say that my experience is that private schooled kids probably tend to have fewer of these problems than public schooled kids, but that may be a function of, income and class and things like that. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe that's the case with homeschooling too, but it seems like somebody who's raised by their parents, and as far as homeschooling goes, there's no argument who's in charge there. Homeschooling, right? And the parent is.
Another point is so the government is using these schools, these indoctrination systems, which you see as teachers and administrators, etc. But in a situation involving a school with the teachers, administrators, principals, superintendents, that kind of thing, on this kind of an issue, if you're talking about a sex change, now you start to involve also the therapists and the social workers. And look what government has done with that. They've created an army of therapists, social workers, doctors, psychologists, et cetera, and nobody can practice that profession and have any sort of comment that means anything, like in a court of law or on a medical record, unless you've gone through a government-approved university and gotten a government-approved degree showing that you are towing the line.
So the odds that the odds that you would get through that indoctrination process and then hold a view that's contrary to the official government view are very, very slim. It could happen, but basically that would, the odds of it seem very low.
Yeah, it seems like the cultural left, the political left, the left has a stranglehold on universities and some career paths.
Thanks, David, for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And, of course, we know that some state governments are even more invasive than other state governments are when it comes to, let's say, homeschoolers. California is sort of known as one of the worst places. I'm not, I don't have kids, so I don't pay close attention to which states are the worst. But I'm sure there are some really bad ones where you have to basically, as I've heard at least, that in some states you have to, if you want to homeschool, you have to present an entire curriculum to some state bureaucrats to where they can decide whether or not you can go ahead with whatever it is that you want to teach. I know there's some folks in California specifically. I think I met them at Anarcho Vegas, who actually I think it was an old friend of ours, Mark, from the radio business, who we happened to run into at the Free Ross auction. He was saying that they want to leave California because now they're mandating, oh God, was it vaccines or something like that? I think it might have been vaccines. They're mandating stuff like this on all families, and I believe it even applied to homeschool. I believe, if I recall correctly, if you're in California and you're shouting at your radio that we're getting it wrong, please feel free to call in to correct me on this. It was a party, late night, and I don't remember.
Not like we know, or even this guy knows everything about vaccines and schooling in California. I just looked up onlinecollege.org, the 8 strictest states for homeschoolers, listing number 1 is Ohio. Number 2, North Dakota. Number 3, Vermont.
These are stunning to me. I would think that North Dakota would, given how remote it is, you would think they'd be a little more independent in that way.
Well, I know somebody who's homeschooled in Vermont, but they probably just didn't tell them at all. Number 4, New York. Number 5, Pennsylvania. Number 6, Rhode Island. Number 7, Massachusetts. And number 8, Georgia.
There's more on the way here. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, whether you want to talk about homeschooling or government meddling in parents' their kids' lives, 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-301-5435. That's 800-301-5435. 800-301-5435.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, live Saturday edition of the show. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
855-450-3733. Don't forget, you can join us and other Free Talk Live listeners on our Discord server. Discord is a free app. You can download it for your smartphone or laptop or desktop computer. And, in fact, you can have it on all of those if you want. I've got it on every device that I have. And it allows you to connect to the LRN.FM Discord server, where there's different channels on which you can interact in chat format, sort of text format, Or there's actually voice channels on there as well, where you can have a voice chat with some of the other people there, many of whom are listeners of Free Talk Live. Some of the hosts of the show will drop into the chat room from time to time as well. And as I say, different channels on different topics. It's there 24 hours a day. So during the show, we actually utilize Discord as a call-in option for anybody that wants to sound really good on the air, because it does sound great. And again, outside the show hours, and also there's an On-Air Now channel, so people can talk about the things we're talking about here on the air if they want to. Sometimes the channel's on topic, sometimes it's not. It's it's a chat room.
Yep.
Check it out. It's free over at discord.lrn.fm. Let's go to the phones and to the fun. It's Joe listening to WEEO FM in Pennsylvania. Hello, Joe.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. What's on your mind tonight?
Your topic of gender. Superfluity, I guess you call it. The Bible says that God created them male and female.
Okay.
And my other comment is, thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother.
Well, okay, let's start with your first comment. Okay, so what's the point about what the Bible said? What are you trying to say there?
What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, the Bible is the truth.
No.
How do you know?
Well,
no, it's not. I'm just going to go ahead and stop you right there. The Bible says that Jesus' name is Jesus, and that you have to believe in his name to go to heaven. However, his name was Yeshua ben Yosef, and any book that can't get its main character's name right and then contends that you will burn in hell for all of eternity if you don't believe in his name is not right at the very best, right? You can't call it the truth if it is that confusing.
Do you think that's confusing?
I do.
Because,
yes, I consider it confusing.
Just because of the name, and you're willing to give up on the greatest religion in the world.
Nope, I'm not going to call it the greatest religion in the world. I'm going to say that any lunatic.
Any religion,
wait a second.
You take Christianity out of the world.
All right.
And what kind of a world are we going to live in?
Look, I'm not saying that Christianity wasn't good for the development of Western Europe. I'm not claiming that.
So it was useful. Now we can get rid of it, you're saying?
No, I'm not saying. Now you're making a consequentialist argument for a book that you just called the truth. No, you don't. You are not. What I am saying, here's my logic. Any being that will damn me to eternal torture because I do not believe a book where the mistranslation occurs of the main character's name is a psychopath. That I have a son, and if he does something wrong and I decide to cut the digits of his fingers off with 10 snips every time he does something wrong, people would call me a lunatic. But for some reason, God gets a pass for hell and all these things because, well, superior being or something. What I'm saying to you is, God's great. The Bible is an ancient text and should be looked at in that format.
Well, it's ancient because we are living in so many years beyond the time that Jesus was on earth. You know what year it is? 2019, after the death of Christ. The whole world.
It's probably
that's
probably off by 5 years. Yes, I will agree with you.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that there are mistakes that are made there. When you use the term truth, and that's the term you used, you're going to set somebody like me off who believes that truth is important.
Well, truth is important.
Good. Me too. I agree.
If we follow as close to the truth as we can, we're going to have a good life.
Yep.
How is it that you know that the Bible is the truth?
I would have to say because of the prophecies that have been fulfilled.
Really?
There's over 365 prophecies that Jesus Christ personally fulfilled.
Well, now, wait a minute. Which of these prophecies have you witnessed yourself being fulfilled, like during your lifetime?
Well, that's a good question because I am going by the ancient text and the fact that he chose 12 men to surround him during the time of his ministry. And then after he died and rose, they tried to make him king, but he refused. He had one mission, and that was to die. Now, all 12 men except for Judas and John were all martyred.
Okay,
Judas
you're talking about you're
betrayed
telling
him.
the story now of the Bible, and I was just asking you how do you know this thing is true? And my understanding of the answer you gave is you know the book is true because of what you read in the book about prophecies being fulfilled.
Well, the way it all unfolds.
Isn't that like circular logic or something?
Well, if you're going to examine something, you have to take what you've been given and base logic upon what you read.
Excellent. Let's use this logic. How can a fair and just being?
Can I make one point?
Well, yeah, you made several points.
You made several.
I want to ask you. You said logic.
Make one point, and that's it.
All right, go ahead. Whatever, man.
And that is the fact that each of these 12 men, except for the two.
You don't know anything about these 12 men except for what's written in this one book. Their only corroboration is Josephus.
They are in secular text. They are in secular text.
One secular text where they were mentioned 130 years later.
Well, what else are we going to go by?
Well, how about this? A being that is fair and just and loves me should have and spent 33 years on this planet could have written one thing down on a cocktail napkin. He could have done one thing, like taken a stick and drawn it in some clay and then I am God. Yeshua ben Yosef says I am God. Like anything they could have done. Slavery is wrong. That would have been really awesome. Wash your hands after you poop. Like a few things that could have been done. If God was here, God could have done some stuff instead of this sort of, this woman has demons, I'll drive them into the pigs.
Poor pigs.
They thronged Jesus. Everybody came to Jesus because
so a lot of people, look, there was no entertainment.
People. He was saying things that liberated them. The good news of
they thronged PewDiePie.
Many were looking for the Messiah.
They thronged the Beatles. They thronged lots of people.
He died on a cross.
The Romans crucified a lot of people.
Died on crosses.
You know, if he would have came at a different time, he would not have died on the cross.
So what?
And he would.
How do you know? I mean, maybe he would have died in a different way.
If he came now, Christians would kill him. Right here in this nation. You want to hang out with prostitutes? You want to hang out with bad people? Well, we've got something for you. We call it a jail cell. You don't want to go? Well, we'll kill you.
Well, you know, if you're not seeking the truth, you won't find it.
I am seeking the truth.
Seeking the truth.
Yeah, look, I've just asked you a bunch of really great questions.
I think you would need to look in more than one book.
You've got nothing for them.
I think you would need. Yeah,
I am a student of prophecy.
Good. Can it answer this question then?
And how we got our text.
Wait a second.
Like that.
Answer this question. Would a fair and just God send me to be tortured for all eternity if I am confused by their very long, convoluted book?
If you choose not to believe, you are.
I am not choosing not to believe. I am looking at the evidence I have been given, and I find it lacking.
If you choose not to accept the only way to God, and that is Jesus Christ. He said, I am the way.
It's not Jesus Christ. It's Yeshua ben Yosef. Get off the phone.
Thanks for the call. Wow, the toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Man, I sure do love it when the Christians set you off. Man.
I have no problem with Christianity. I have a problem with people who are so sure
the one true way
of the truth that they are willing to throw away human lives. That's what hell is. Mm-hmm. Hell is the wish that you could throw away a human life, that they're willing to throw away human lives for their beliefs, whatever they are. There's no Christian who's listening to me who knows who's going to go to hell and who isn't. That's God's decision.
If you believe in hell.
If you believe in hell. Hell's stupid.
855-450-FREE.
For a loving God.
855-450-3733.
But people really want hell for Hitler. Maybe a couple of other people.
That brings up an interesting discussion. If you want to jump in, you're welcome to join us coming up in Hour 3 here on the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE like freedom.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,418. Silver at $16.38, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,142. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime personal pilots have been subpoenaed by federal prosecutors in Manhattan, according to the Wall Street Journal. The grand jury subpoenas were served earlier this month following Epstein's July 6 arrest in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking minors. He has pleaded not guilty to the years-long scheme in which prosecutors allege the wealthy financier sexually abused dozens of young girls from 2002 to 2005, some of whom recruited other victims. The Mind Unleashed reports it's unknown how many of Epstein's pilots were subpoenaed, or whether they're cooperating witnesses. According to court documents from prior cases, Epstein employed David Rogers, Larry Vasosky, Larry Morrison, and Bill Hammond as pilots and flight engineers. Rogers, Vasosky, and Morrison have previously testified in civil depositions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. In the latest move to undermine the separation of church and state in the United States, a new law in South Dakota is requiring all public schools in the state to prominently display the motto, "In God We Trust." The Mind Unleashed reports the new law, which decrees that schools must emblazon the message across 149 South Dakota school districts, was pushed by lawmakers who argue that the theological slogan is meant to inspire patriotism. Governor Kristi Noem signed off on the law in March. The law requires that the motto must be both legible and 12 by 12 inches in size. In a Thursday Twitter post, the governor said, quote, "We should never be afraid to proclaim that we are one nation under God," end quote. The new law has provoked controversy in many of the state's communities, with critics condemning the law as part of a stealth campaign aiming to infuse religious indoctrination into state legislation. In a bipartisan deal that one anti-war critic said demonstrates how thoroughly broken and captured Washington is by the Pentagon, 219 House Democrats and 65 Republicans on Thursday voted to approve a budget agreement that includes $1.48 trillion in military spending over the next 2 years. Just 16 Democrats, including Representatives Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, voted against the 2-year, $2.7 trillion budget agreement. Largely due to expressed concerns about the deficit, 132 Republicans also voted no. The final vote was 284 to 149. The House passage of the budget deal, which President Donald Trump quickly applauded on Twitter as a victory for the military, comes after the Congressional Progressive Caucus threatened in April to tank the measure. But most of the Progressive Caucus voted for the agreement on Thursday, pointing to increases in domestic spending. Facebook has dealt a massive blow to the police accountability movement, unpublishing Police to Police, the largest police accountability page on the platform. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
NASA announced the discovery of a mile-wide asteroid this week that could potentially trigger a global level of extinction, forcing upscale fashion retailer Nordstrom out of business. Researchers confirm that the celestial object is traveling at speeds exceeding 29,000 miles per hour, threatening to slam into the planet with more than 1 million megatons of force, enough to jeopardize operations at all 117 full-line Nordstrom locations.
Unless we can find some way to divert or intercept the asteroid, all 7 billion people on Earth, including all 62,500 Nordstrom employees, may die. Even if the asteroid breaks into smaller pieces upon entry into the atmosphere, a death toll as low as several hundred million could still slow foot traffic in stores and reduce online orders from Nordstrom's subsidiary, Hotlook.
Humanity is surprised it still hasn't figured out an alternative to letting power-hungry assholes decide everything. And a magical office worker is able to turn everything he touches into more work for his colleagues.
This is the Onion News Network.
Man, it's heating up in the chat room over there at discord.lrn.fm. Apparently somebody didn't like what you said on the air, Mark. You've been having it out with them during the news break there. If you want to join the discussion, head over to discord.lrn.fm, and you can jump into our on-air call-in line rooms, which is where we're going to go next. But if you are just tuning in, you are, of course, welcome to call in about anything that you want here. It is Free Talk Live Saturday edition, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. That's 855-450-3733. We've talked about young people and making decisions without parental input and getting bureaucrats involved. That was earlier in the show. We ended up getting briefly onto the border wall subject. So anything you want to talk about goes. Let's go to Gene, the Christian anarchist. He is on the line, actually calling us from an air show in Wisconsin tonight, and you're on Discord. Go ahead, Gene.
Hey, guys. Yeah, if you hear an airplane going by, it's because I'm at EAA Air Venture in Oshkosh, and it's been a great time, but I want to discuss what that guy was saying about his belief in God. And I, as a Christian anarchist, yeah. As a Christian anarchist, I definitely believe that Christ exists, and I think it's hard, or existed and still exists today. But it would be hard from a historical perspective to say that he didn't, because there's just as much evidence to say that he did as to say that Caesar did or Napoleon did or anybody else like that for as far as a historical character. But as far as what the Bible says being absolute truth, I mean, I think that people just they go down that path because they're told to go down that path, not because they're using critical thinking. Because if you think about it, the Bible, as it exists today, exists in something like 5 or 6 major versions. And then not only that, here goes the planes.
He's really there.
Yeah, that's legit. Listen to that thing. Woof.
Bam.
So not only that, there's 5 or 6 major versions in English, and then you've got a version for all the other languages out there. And every one of these versions will vary from one verse to another. I mean, if you compare the same verse in all these different versions, they're slightly different. Now, people will say, well, slightly different is only slightly different, but the key word there is it's different. It's not the same. And so therefore you have to then start arguing about which one is closer to the reality. And you've just got to realize that it's not 100% accurate. It can't be.
Right. It's old, and it was edited by a bunch of different people, right? Like there's some crew of men that decided how this book was going to be written, and then it was translated by other people on top of that. I mean, how could anybody think that there wasn't going to be something lost in translation, even if it was originally the Word of God?
I was raised on the New International Version. The Revised Standard Version. I picked up the New International later, and both of those versions were very clear that the King James had added some words to clarify the existence of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, that kind of thing. And if you just use the King James, I'm not talking the New King James, the regular King James, then you would believe that that was the case. But even the King James that are printed now, in many cases, have that particular passage in parentheses with an asterisk next to it to say, hey, we know for sure that this is added in 1614, not the original text or whatever those might be. So, the evidence is that this is translation, and it makes it very, very difficult.
So, people need to use some logic, and somehow.
So, before we go on here, like the Jewish religion,
go roaring by.
Yep.
We've lost our ability for critical thought.
I think the Jewish.
They are beautiful.
Great. You can't hear a thing I'm saying. Turn it down. Even. So, the Jewish religion tells people. Now, look, I'm no Jew. I don't study this stuff. I don't know everything, but I know that the young people are told to question everything they read, and what the result is people that are much firmer in their faith in their adulthood than people that are told, look,
you must believe this. We said so.
Wise men and all their wiseness don't get to go to heaven, so don't be a wise man. Just believe in faith, have the faith of a mustard seed. I disagree with the way Christianity has been presented for a very long time. I'm a Quaker. I go to Quaker meeting nearly every single week. I was the clerk of my meeting for some time. I have read the Bible through on more than one occasion. I am not uneducated in this particular sphere, and, well, it's, as best I can tell, you need to ask some questions, and you should have your own personal relationship with God, and whatever your relationship with God is just as important as Abraham's was with God, too.
Gene, any other quick comments while you have a lull?
Well, I'd like to say the military sure knows how to burn fuel.
Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the show. It sounds like it is really enjoyable. Nighttime air show. Imagine there's lots of lights involved.
I hope nobody runs into anything.
Would be my guess. Presumably they know what they're doing. Although every now and then you see a fireball hit the ground or whatever as somebody crash lands.
So terrible.
It's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
So if you want to join us, you can. In fact, we're going back to the phones and your calls and thoughts, where James is on the line, listening in Bay City, Michigan. James, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Yeah.
Hi, James.
I want to talk on gender, and all I got to say is I'm glad that some expert or my parents or somebody didn't think that I had to be somebody different than I was, because I had older sisters, and I played with dolls and played with them, and then shortly after played with trucks. And when I got to kindergarten, I played with the girls in a little house and everything, because that's what I was used to, and they sent me home. And I'm so glad that somebody didn't give me drugs or hormones or something because they thought that I was something I wasn't, you know?
Well, I don't know if that's what the story was suggesting earlier.
No, but he's saying that this is what could have happened if you're looking at the timeline, his timeline. There was a time, and I would agree with him entirely, that if a little boy played with the dollhouse, like the teacher doesn't know what to do.
James, any other thoughts?
Yes, I think that mother was coercing her son to be a girl. She wanted a girl, and I think that was...
I think you might be referring to a different story. The one we talked about earlier, the mother actually sued the school district. So she, I presume, was not wanting her son to make a sex change.
Okay, the story I have is a woman that wanted her son and kind of coerced him into wanting to be a girl.
I believe that story probably exists. It's just not the one we were discussing earlier. If that's the case, then I think that's wrong. I don't think that any parent should be foisting their preferred sexual preference onto their children. Oh, I think, son, you were born a boy, but you shouldn't be a boy. I think you should be a girl. That's pretty mind-warping kind of behavior.
My opinion is somewhat nuanced from that. In order to be able to raise my son as my son, as opposed to my daughter or my being from Mars or whatever the hell somebody thinks is a good idea.
Your daughter, Jacqueline.
I have to leave alone other families and their nonsense. As far as I'm concerned, as a parent, become a parent and you will quickly realize you're the best parent on the planet. And all the other parents are idiots. And the last thing I would want is a cadre of idiots telling me how I would have to raise my son. So therefore, I can only presume that the person who's raising their kid to be a girl or whatever with whom I disagree thinks that I'm an idiot, and they shouldn't have to deal with idiots telling them how to raise their kids either.
I agree. You should leave other parents alone. How they're doing their parenting is none of your business. However,
you can have an
that
opinion.
Doesn't mean you can't have an opinion about it, and I don't think it's okay to force down a young person's throat your belief about, whoops, I think you were born the wrong gender, and I think I'm going to dress you up, and you must wear this dress. Now, I imagine that would, result in the young person pushing back against that sort of thing, because that's just the way that a lot of young people are when it comes to their parents trying to shove their beliefs down their throats. But who knows? It still just seems like a sick thing to do. Hey, thanks, James, for the call tonight. I definitely appreciate your thoughts. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Well, it's not hard to have kids. It's hard to raise the kids, right? And to do a good job, and everybody's going to screw something up. 855-450-FREE. You can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves here on our live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. Totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Do you wish you made more money or the same money on less hours? Do you wish you could do whatever you wanted in your dating or relationship life? Do you wish you could go wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted? There's another way to live. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses, and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want here on the radio. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, you have since we've been talking about trans related stuff here tonight, you've got a very disturbing sounding story coming out of Canada, and we're going to get into that coming up here in a moment. But back to your phone calls and thoughts, of course, here in moments. Also, tell me about alpha male.
Now, here's some awesome guy stuff. Do you feel stuck in a job or relationship or both? Caleb Jones has taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses and how to date women under your terms. Alpha Male 2.0 gives you the alpha male and have taught you how to learn how to break free and have your how to truly live your life. Shouldn't you be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and not have to ask permission or to answer to anyone, so long as you don't hurt other people? You should be able to date whoever you want, even if you're already in a relationship. Caleb's point, living in a free society isn't going to help you much if your life isn't free. Visit freelifeinfo.com and download the Alpha Male 2.0 Starter Pack for free. Included are 7 free books and podcasts so that you can start living a truly free life right now. The Alpha Male 2.0 Starter Pack will show you the exact strategies Caleb and his team use to get better with women, increase their income and personal freedom and happiness. Get your free Alpha Male 2.0 Starter Pack at freelifeinfo.com. freelifeinfo.com.
Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. We got Lewis. He's listening in Florida. Lewis, where are you calling from in Florida tonight?
I'm calling from South Florida.
Christ, that's loud. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. South Florida. What part of South Florida?
About that. I didn't want to, be too quiet or,
You're good
whatever.
now. You're good now.
It's our fault, Lewis. Go ahead.
What are you calling about tonight, Lewis? Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make a quick comment about the whole Bible thing.
All right.
Look, there's hundreds of mistranslations and mistakes in the Bible. And when it comes down to it, if you don't understand Aramaic Hebrew, you don't even understand what you're reading.
Yeah, how could
that's
you?
the way it is. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Right on. Succinct. Appreciate the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Basically saying if you can't read the original writing, then you got to take somebody else's word for it.
Right. You're definitely taking the word of the translator or translators.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking the word of and, most of the Bibles you can corroborate with other Bibles and they say similar things, but there are some sticking points between versions and those kind of things.
And some of these sticking points can result in schisms of entire religions, right?
And it's not like somebody, a beam of light came down on each one of these authors and said, you will now write the next chapter of the Bible. The chapters of the Bible were brought into, bound together in a book by some church guys that decided, well, this part, nope, that's not going to be acceptable.
Leave that one out.
Toss this one, St. George and the Dragon, that doesn't sound right. We absolutely have to have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Barnabas, Judas, Mary, nope, out. They just did these things. They determined that, some Christians were heretical. They determined that others had the right way of being, and they did all this with a vote. And maybe you believe that God, guided the vote. And you should be allowed to, believe that if that's what you want. But pardon me while I sit here and wonder about a fair and just being that will torture me for all eternity. This is my sticking point, by the way. I have no problem with Christianity. I have a problem with two things. The Bible being the unerring word of God and hell, the existence thereof. If you want to believe in hell because you need a place to put Hitler, fine. Hitler goes to hell. Everybody else, not so much. They are the loving children. God loves you. That's what we're told. Right? That's what it's all about. God loves you. And a father that loves you would not send you to be tortured for all of eternity.
Got to agree with you there. The toll-free, although I don't believe in hell, so I don't even think Hitler's there. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We continue, although if you want to say that hell exists, it could be in your own mind. It could be in your circumstances.
I think hell is the
life.
result of really bad actions, and it happens right here on planet Earth.
Yep.
The people live in hell all the time.
Let's talk to Michelle. She's on the line in New Mexico, listening to KNN. Hello, Michelle.
Hey, I'm not calling about the religion thing.
You can call about anything you want. Go right ahead.
I've been listening to it, and it's fascinating. I've been doing research for years on this, and you guys are spot on.
Wow.
You are.
Nobody ever agrees with me on this. My wife just rolls her eyes.
Oh no, I totally agree,
Thank you.
I'm following you, and I'm like, yes, there's another person out there thinking the same thing.
Okay, but that wasn't what you were calling about. So what were you calling about?
No, what I'm calling about is private property rights, and I need to pick your brain.
Sure.
What you know about private property rights in New Mexico?
Probably not that much, but all right.
Well, yeah. What's the issue?
We had an incident, my husband and I, here last week. Several sheriff vehicles arrived, fire people arrived. I very much felt violated by the way I was treated and spoken to, and what I was demanded to do. I had no choice in the matter, and it didn't even happen. I was at work when all this went down.
So what went down?
And a car, one of our cars burst into flames on the property. Yeah. And
was this the story? I saw a story about a car that like blew up that was an electric car. That's not your story, was it?
No.
Okay.
No.
So your car just incinerated itself. What started it? Do you know?
Well, if you Google the type of vehicle, they do have a history of spontaneously bursting into fire.
Can you tell us what that is?
It's not a Pinto, is it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
It's a Subaru BRZ.
A BRZ? B as in boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
BRZ.
Wow.
And we bought it brand new off the showroom lot. It doesn't even have 1,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Brand new car, just blowing up.
Yeah. And they arrive thinking that there's a body in the trunk of the car, talking to us like we're criminals. And they're on private property.
Did you call the police? Did you call emergency, the 911, when the car set fire?
No, neither one of us did.
But somebody did, right? Because it's a fire, so likely a neighbor, probably a neighbor called the fire department, and then, of course, they sent the police along with. I want to hear more about this story, Michelle. If you can hang on, we're going to bring it back and continue this because it's interesting. A lot of people have this experience with the police, thinking that they're officer friendly. They're going to come over and just take a report and they're going to file it and everything's going to be fine. When in point of fact, they suspect you. They think you've done something. They want to find out if you've done something. They want to find out about all the things you've done. So if you've done something illegal, they can arrest you for it. After you just lost your car and however many tens of thousands of dollars that cost. More on the way here. We'll continue with Michelle. Your calls and thoughts welcome. This is Free Talk Live.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence, or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We also have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms, and they're available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com and enjoy the features there for free. We go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Michelle is with us, listening in New Mexico to KENN. Michelle, you're back on. You were telling us that you had an incident where your Subaru apparently just caught fire. You said the BRX model may have some faults. You bought this thing brand new, was it? And how long had you had it before it caught ablaze?
Well, it's the model BRZ, and we had it a month and a half.
Wow. And where was it? Was it just in your driveway, in your garage when this happened?
Driveway.
Okay, so thankfully it probably didn't catch your house on fire, so that's good. But
no, sir.
The car's burning in your front yard, your driveway. You said you were at work at the time while this was happening, and was anybody home?
Yes, my husband was here, and the sheriff's office arrived. The fire department arrived, and a little after 5 o'clock, I arrived, and my issue, what I would like to pick your brain about, is private property rights, because they hauled him off to jail.
Oh my God!
Immediately they determined that it was some type of criminal activity.
What was he charged with?
I have not seen the police report, so I do not know.
Hold on. Is he still in jail?
No, I sprung him right away.
Okay. It's just surprising to me, having, I've had a lot of friends arrested for civil disobedience, and usually, I want to know when I go and, get somebody out of jail is what were they charged with. So
I don't think they have to provide that for the first within 24 hours.
Right.
I have never heard that rule, Mark. Generally, if you're getting bailed out on something, you have some idea of what that something is that you've been bailed out on. So you, even though you're his wife, you don't know what he was charged with. Okay, let's go on.
So, but what? I was left there alone, and I, showed up on the scene after coming home from work, and I watched them drive him away and da-da-da. And I was left with all these sheriff officers and fire department, and treated like a criminal on my very own property. Right. And there were 2 vehicles that they absolutely insisted, and I questioned them. Why do I have to have these vehicles towed? Why? They're my vehicles on my property. And they just insisted that they absolutely had to be towed.
And towed where?
So, well, the one that burned up and is just, scrap metal, basically.
Yeah.
I had to move from point A on my personal property to point B on my personal property.
Do you have a large piece of property?
33 plus acres, yes.
Okay.
I can see why you would want to keep the vehicle that caught fire so that you could talk to the the dealer and the manufacturer and the insurance company and everybody that you need to talk to, saying, "Hey, we got this."
What was their alleged reason why you needed to move the vehicle from point A to point B on your property?
They said that it was the oil field. It would be inconvenient for the oil field to service whatever it is that they have on our property. Although it's not fenced, there's plenty of area.
I'm missing something. So you've got a contract with an oil company that's working on your property?
No, I have no contract with them. All they have is mineral rights.
Okay.
Well, why would the car being in your driveway be a problem for the oil people?
Well, you can't surround the oil field with derelict cars so they can't get in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Ian.
It's in her driveway.
I understand that. Well, she was proposing to move it to another location. I think that she's got a good argument here. I just think that whenever you get in a lawsuit with the government, expect it to take a long time.
Hold on. Okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding something. Since it is a 33-acre property, when you say driveway, is this like a lengthy, winding, road that goes from? Okay. So the idea was that this car, this husk, this burnt-out husk, may actually be blocking the oil drilling people from getting on and off the property?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
That's what they said, yes.
Okay.
Well, they would have to prove that, and there would have to be a complaint, as opposed to just, we're going to take all the cars, all the things that aren't your house are going to have to be moved because they could possibly get in the way of some truck that wants to get through here.
So they demanded that you...
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so they demanded that you tow that thing right then?
Yes, and I had to pay them immediately before the tow truck driver would leave.
Right. So basically, she got her car towed. Like when you park in the wrong spot, you park in one of those you're going to be towed spots. She got it towed from her own property. That sounds
crazy.
To me, yeah, that's crazy, and I can't see how that's legal.
Me neither. I'm just so incredibly frustrated, and the way I was spoken to and questioned repeatedly, the same questions over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of the things that the police tactic is to ask the same question multiple times to see if the answer changes. The idea being that somebody who's telling a lie might get caught in a lie in that case. But you're right. There's a lot of people who encounter this situation with police coming to their home. Many of them called. In your case, you didn't call them. Probably a neighbor had called. But many people. A
burning car is probably going to get the emergency folks there.
Many people, Michelle, will call the police thinking they're going to come help a situation. And we've seen stories where people have had their children or dogs killed by the police when they show up at a house. They treat everybody like they're criminals. They're not there to serve and protect you. They're there to find something to arrest you for. And for a lot of people, it's a shock to the system because they were raised to believe that the police are helpful, that the police are, upstanding members of the community.
Yes. I expected protect and serve.
Yeah.
And I was treated and spoken to like I was going to get hauled off.
It's frustrating. Michelle, I want to say, here's what I'd recommend.
Your husband did get hauled off.
Here's what I'd recommend. See if you can connect with an attorney. I don't know what type of law that you would need to look at.
Maybe they can recommend somebody, though.
Are there property rights attorneys? Would you start with a real estate attorney there? I don't know all the different, expertises that attorneys...
What about a civil rights? What about a civil rights?
That might be a good question. Maybe start with the ACLU and see if they can recommend. That's a lot of organizations. And thanks for the call. I wish you the best of luck. Let us know what happens if you would.
She should be talking to an attorney for her husband who has been arrested by these people.
Yeah, that too. Well, that's criminal. So you would want to talk to a criminal attorney, and maybe the criminal attorney could recommend somebody. Because a lot of attorneys know other attorneys, and they can say, "Oh, my buddy so and so would be able to take this case." I only do this
sort of law, but that sort of law, and it just keeps going.
Right, and I got to say, I'm curious to know what they arrested him for. That is an unanswered question here. So I would hope that Michelle might call us back and update us on this situation. Why did this man get hauled away from his own property after his own car burned up on it? The police apparently aren't talking yet, or Michelle hasn't heard if they are. Thanks
Generally,
for the call.
they can't talk.
Well, they can definitely tell you what you've been charged with. They have an obligation to some extent to tell you that much.
That's true.
And thanks. Appreciate it. We got more on the way. Your calls and thoughts. Remaining moments are coming up, but we still have enough time for you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Another thing that you can always do in these circumstances is record the interactions.
Oh, yeah.
Get them on the record. If they're going to behave poorly, get them behaving poorly on video. It's Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
If you owe money to the IRS, you need to hear this. The IRS is cracking down on those who owe back taxes. It starts with a devastating letter, and if you don't act immediately, you could find yourself having your wages garnished or have a lien placed on your property. But there's a solution. Tax 10,000 can help. Avoid enforced compliance, where these holds on your income and seizure of your home could become a nightmare that just won't end. Call 800-239-9957 now and speak to one of our experts. 800-239-9957 is the number to link you directly to a tax resolution specialist who will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, all the forms will be handled for you. All you have to do is make the toll-free call. 800-239-9957. Find out if you qualify and possibly save yourself thousands of dollars, not to mention a lot of headaches. It could be the best call you've made today. That number again, 800-239-9957. The service does not provide tax settlement or legal services. We will refer you to a company that does provide such services. Often the IRS will not agree to any reduction in the amount owed. Not all taxpayers who owe more than $10,000 will qualify for a tax reduction program.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free here. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Link posted in our On-Air Now chat over at discord.lrn.fm regarding that last call about the Subaru that allegedly caught flames in the lady's driveway. They found a link to a recall from Subaru back in 2016. They recalled over 100,000 2007 to 2009 Legacy models, 2008 to 2014 Impreza models, and 2009 to 2013 Forester vehicles. None of those were the BRX.
Yeah, that's not even close.
She had. But they were, as recalled, due to a fire risk, apparently.
Okay.
Anyway, we continue. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. You can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Please enjoy those features for free as we go to Devin on the line, listening in Kansas to KINA in Salina. Hello, Devin.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
My only thought or question with the whole religious Christianity thoughts, I agree 100% with you. That's where I've been at in the past. But on the other hand, hell is the total absence of God. That's why, heaven is total God, nothing else.
Does it say that in the Bible?
That hell is the total absence of God.
Yes. I mean, that's what I've had preachers tell me that. But I think that's the new shtick now that demons poking people in the butt with pitchforks.
I thought God was supposed
anymore.
to be omniscient and omnipresent, and that would mean that he would be present in hell.
The way I've understood it.
Yep. I've understood it exactly the way you have. Yes. Preachers have told me that.
And here's where I'm at on this whole thing. I'm sure you're aware of Pascal's wager.
Yep.
Can you recall it for our listeners who are not aware of it?
What Pascal's wager is it's weighing the options of believing in Christianity, believing Jesus came, died, which, obviously the names translated in Hebrew has been lost over the generations, kind of like, I don't know how many different...
If that's comforting to you, that's excellent. And I'm not here to talk about your religion. So, if that's cool. Pascal's wager says that it is safer to believe in God than not to believe in God because of hell. So, there you go.
Well, what are you going to lose if you believe in hell? If you believe that there's no God and you die and there is, and you go to hell and the hell is this real place, you've lost everything. If you believe in Christianity and you die and we're nothing but dust, nothing ever comes of it, what have you lost?
My answer to you is this. You said you, and I presume you're talking to me in the second person. My answer to you is this. I do not want to spend eternity with a psychopathic being, worshiping a psychopathic being, that would send my brothers and sisters to be tortured for all of eternity. That's what I'd lose.
Yep. No, and that's the nice thing about Christianity. We can agree to disagree. When you talk about a lot of Muslim, or I guess it's not Muslim, it is Islam. If you don't believe, you're an infidel. I have a problem with that. Christianity.
I mean, there may be
some. Right.
No, I thought that Christians and Jews were not considered infidels by the Muslim because they're all people
of the book.
Yeah, that they have a problem with animists and atheists and a whole variety of folks, but not necessarily Christians.
Beyond that, you're describing what would best be described as radical Islam. That would be to say that those people would not be okay with you and would possibly use violence against you if you did not, assent to whatever belief systems that they have. And that is a very, very small minority of Islam.
The only people that have ever tried really hard to get me to believe their religion are Christians, because I went to a Christian school, I was raised in a Christian church, I was raised all that stuff, and the government people that believe that their magic organization fixes all the problems. So those are the only two religions that have ever been sort of really pushing me to believe what they want me to believe.
Devin, thanks for the call and sharing your thoughts tonight. Let's go on to Gino, listening in Nevada to, I guess, TuneIn Radio. Go ahead, Gino. Hello, Gino? I heard somebody there. Maybe his name's not Gino. Hello, you're on the air.
Sorry.
Hi. Hello?
When's the last time you saw your...
Oh, you can't call in. We're going to continue here as we talk to Charles in Kansas, listening to KINA. Hello, Charles.
Hi, I was just calling. Well, two things. I was just calling to respond to the individual who was trashing the Bible.
I'm trashing the
saying
Bible.
there are hundreds of Yeah. Well, then you are either willfully ignorant or just uninformed. And then number two.
What did I say?
What Islam,
What part was uninformed? Before you go on to your Islam critique, which I'm sure will be really enlightening.
You just said you're trashing the Bible.
No,
That's
no.
enough.
I said,
You
I'm trashing the Bible.
You agreed with the caller who called in, didn't you?
I'm not
Did you
sure.
not?
What is the statement that I agreed with?
Do you remember the caller who called in from Florida?
Can you just clarify what you're disagreeing with, please?
He said there are hundreds of mistakes in the Bible. He's actually wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't know
many
how
are
many
there?
mistakes there are in the Bible.
How many mistakes are there?
I only need one. If there is
There are
one
none.
mistake in the Bible,
There are none. He says it's perfect. There's
Okay,
no
well,
mistakes.
Really, you know what your problem is?
Oh,
See,
I'd love to hear it.
You're just going all around the bush. Your problem is that your God lives in your pants, and you can't handle the God.
My
of the
God
Bible.
lives in my pants.
What does that even mean?
You're either willfully ignorant or you're uninformed.
Okay.
You don't know what you're talking
The
about.
only
And
thing
then
I
the second
said-
point on Islam, huh?
I don't know whether we're talking about the first or the second. The only thing I said was that a fair and just God would not send me to be tortured for all of eternity because I am confused by the 2,000-year-old book. That's what I said.
And you're in a position to judge what's fair and just with God Almighty. You're in a position.
How could somebody
I was
who-
created in his image, so I must be.
How could somebody who purportedly loves his creation torture his creation? How could that even be a thing?
The thing I'm responding to is the question.
I'm asking you to respond to the question I just asked.
Trashing of the Bible. Well, it would take longer than you're going to let me be on the phone to answer your
so you have no
question,
answer
so
then.
there's no point.
Why you have no
Oh, yes, I
answer
do
as
have
to
an answer.
why?
I do have an answer. You don't.
Well, then spit it
put
out.
Words in my mouth.
I'll decide
Yeah,
whether
I
it's
just
too
told
long.
You, I just told you it would take longer than this time you have.
I will
left.
decide whether
you're
it's
ending
too
it
long.
in
Why don't you
5
go ahead
minutes.
and get started? Why is it that
How much longer is the rest of your show?
All right, goodbye.
How long is it?
Sorry, I tried to get. I really wanted an answer out of him, but whatever. Let's continue. We've got True Smoker on the line in Kentucky. You're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, there's quite a few things on my mind. I would like to go over
Pick
the
one. Pick one. We don't have time for more than one.
hold on, I'm going. Well, I would like to talk about the. Have you guys ever heard of Flat Earth?
Oh God.
Yes. I remember flatearth.org, which was this sort of joke organization back like 15 years ago. And now it's kind of turned into this, like, some people don't think it's a joke thing.
Sir, I've been researching it for 2 years.
Okay.
Good
Lord. I've been researching it for over 2 years, probably 3 years. And,
What have you
would
determined?
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Would you like me to awaken?
What have you determined after 2 years of researching the flat Earth?
Okay. I'd like to ask you, where have you seen a curve ever? And if
Okay,
you've
so
ever
you're a
seen
believer.
one.
You are a flat
I've
Earth.
seen it in pictures from the space station.
I'm a researcher.
Well, I just told you the answer to your question. I've seen the curve in pictures from the space station.
Okay, you've seen pictures from the fake station, you said?
Yep.
Have you seen the fake station on YouTube and it shows them hanging from harnesses? Have you seen and the green screen?
I've seen. Well, I haven't seen green screen, but I have watched.
It's all fake, Mark.
I've seen
all space travel has been falsified.
I have actually seen the International Space Station travel through the sky. You can track it online, and they'll tell you where it is. And if you get out there at the right time on the right night, you'll be like, "There it is! I can't believe it!"
Oh, it's a fake, Mark. It's all just a big plot by the government to make you think the world's round.
Yeah.
For the normal debate here, can I please respond? I've been waiting for years for this, guys.
Well, if you've been
Please,
waiting
I know
for
y'all-
years, you need to call in at another time because we don't have a whole lot of time left. True Smoker, we are on all 7 nights a week.
7
Everybody
p.m.?
decided to wait until the last segment to call in, but
That's
we
how it
still have
goes.
other people on the line here, so I'm going to get Austin on the line in North Dakota. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Austin.
Yeah, in response to the last call, I don't think you're a researcher. I think you're a big fan of Howard Stern's penis.
Okay, thanks for that. Richard, you get the last word here in New Mexico. Go ahead. Hello?
Okay, this is Richard in New Mexico. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, but unfortunately you didn't get the last word in because you were too long-winded. Call tomorrow night. We can get you on then. We're on live from 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time every single night. You can join us online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com. If you didn't get on or you feel like you didn't get enough time, we're on tomorrow.
Yep. Sorry you didn't get the time, but we'd love to have you.
We'll talk to you then. Don't wait till the last segment. Try that.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,418. Silver at $16.38. And Bitcoin is trading around $10,142. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Takeoff with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing 1 or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime personal pilots have been subpoenaed by federal prosecutors in Manhattan, according to the Wall Street Journal. The grand jury subpoenas were served earlier this month following Epstein's July 6 arrests in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking minors. He has pleaded not guilty to the years-long scheme in which prosecutors allege the wealthy financier sexually abused dozens of young girls from 2002 to 2005, some of whom recruited other victims. The Mind Unleashed reports it's unknown how many of Epstein's pilots were subpoenaed, or whether they're cooperating witnesses. According to court documents from prior cases, Epstein employed David Rogers, Larry Vasosky, Larry Morrison, and Bill Hammond as pilots and flight engineers. Rogers, Vasosky, and Morrison have previously testified in civil depositions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. In the latest move to undermine the separation of church and state in the United States, a new law in South Dakota is requiring all public schools in the state to prominently display the motto, "In God We Trust." The Mind Unleashed reports the new law, which decrees that schools must emblazon the message across 149 South Dakota school districts, was pushed by lawmakers who argue that the theological slogan is meant to inspire patriotism. Governor Kristi Noem signed off on the law in March. The law requires that the motto must be both legible and 12 by 12 inches in size. In a Thursday Twitter post, the governor said, quote, "We should never be afraid to proclaim that we are one nation under God," end quote. The new law has provoked controversy in many of the state's communities, with critics condemning the law as part of a stealth campaign aiming to infuse religious indoctrination into state legislation. In a bipartisan deal that one anti-war critic said demonstrates how thoroughly broken and captured Washington is by the Pentagon, 219 House Democrats and 65 Republicans on Thursday voted to approve a budget agreement that includes $1.48 trillion in military spending over the next 2 years. Just 16 Democrats, including Representatives Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley, voted against the 2-year, $2.7 trillion budget agreement. Largely due to expressed concerns about the deficit, 132 Republicans also voted no. The final vote was 284 to 149. The House passage of the budget deal, which President Donald Trump quickly applauded on Twitter as a victory for the military, comes after the Congressional Progressive Caucus threatened in April to tank the measure. But most of the Progressive Caucus voted for the agreement on Thursday, pointing to increases in domestic spending. Facebook has dealt a massive blow to the police accountability movement, unpublishing Police to Police, the largest police accountability page on the platform. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Japan grants suffrage to female robots, and a hypochondriac maple tree is always convinced it has Asian longhorn beetles. The following 2 statements are true. The previous statement is false, and this is the Onion Week in Review. This week, Americans nationwide were stunned to hear horrific allegations on Wall Street revealing that numerous junior bankers have been forced to survive on a mere $6,800 per week. The findings, which implicate numerous high-profile financial institutions such as Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and Citibank, suggest that hundreds of first-year bankers are constantly deprived of basic necessities, including penthouse apartments overlooking Central Park and regular company-financed vacations to the French Riviera.
Many of these bankers are 23 or 24 years old and don't even have access to an expense account of over $50,000 a year. Not only that, but some of them are making as little as 20 times minimum wage. I mean, this is truly disgraceful.
This is the Onion News Network.
Sound too nice. No, I am Canadian after all, but
all right, and welcome back, everyone, to this Saturday I keep saying Saturday edition. To this edition, right? It's always on Saturday, of Questioning Authority live tonight, and I'm just going to get straight to the point. You could probably predict this. No, you probably couldn't predict this. So I got everything working in regards to taking calls. And, Ian and I worked it all out, got all the bugs, it was working. And just as I was about to try it, and you got to stick the headphones into the mixer to hear my, my output levels. And I didn't have the adapter. I didn't think to bring it. So anyways, it is what it is. But a lot of, I'm just going to call this practice for when I get back to Keene in actually about a month now. Yeah, less than a month when I get back to Keene and start doing the terrestrial broadcast again, just because, I have to get used to not having anyone with the ability to call in just quite yet. And I want to make a comment. Well, actually, got a lot of news to talk about. Have some... all of it has to do with Trump in one way or another. It's the most insane thing. It's like even I've what was it? I think probably the first thing I'm going to read here is Bill Weld, right? Bill Weld, who's running against Trump as a Republican, is in the news finally. But it's that obviously so ties into Trump, and so I go on to. Gosh, it must have been like 5 different news websites all across the political spectrum. Go on and all, like, literally, even a Drudge Report, which has everything, right? It's just all Trump. But I mean, the man's totally taken over the news cycle, and I think that's the point. I mean, people are so distracted by Trump the person that, like, could you believe Trump said this, or Trump did that, or Trump spends this amount of his time golfing? That's distracting people from the real issues, like... Trump has who in his cabinet? John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, all these apocalyptic Christian Zionists, Rex Tillerson, Rick Perry, maybe not Rex Tillerson, actually. I meant Rick Perry, who I think he's the energy secretary, who referred to Israel as America's older brother. Anyways, I'm getting beside the point. So, and the same thing with like this whole debt thing. I have a story here about the Republicans having, I think it's like, where was it? Here you go, yeah. Republicans are caving in on budget, right? The former old party, fiscal conservative party, it was supporting some like the biggest spending packages ever of all time. And and I remember my dad is a total Trump zombie. It's absolutely awful. Totally brainwashed by Fox News. I mean, if I like suggest anything bad or remotely negative about Trump, he just like freaks out and accuses me of being a Democrat. And I think a lot of people are like this. I mean, it's like my father despises Alex Jones, but at this point they agree probably on like 90% of everything, and the 10% is the conspiracies that Jones doesn't talk about anymore. I'm waiting for my wine here to get room temperature. I put it in the fridge for a little bit too long. And anyway, so I am going to be talking about that. So that's number one. And I mean, it's not all the articles aren't directly about Trump. At first, like I saw the Elijah Cummings tweet. That was the number one story. I think it happened this morning where Elijah Cummings is some politician or whatever from Baltimore, and he's constantly giving Trump grief over this, that, and the other thing, and then Trump finally lashes out on Twitter and says that that his district is worse than many places south of the border. It's dirty, it's full of crime, the people are poor, and he rarely spends any time in his district. Which I mean, no matter what you think about Trump, I mean he has a point, and that is true. And it's the same thing with Dianne Feinstein, with Maxine Waters, with Ilhan Omar, and all these other people, all these other Democrats who come from shithole states and areas. Who represent, right? A lot of the times they don't even live there or come from there. They just represent there. I mean, like Maxine Waters and Elijah Cummings are like, neo carpetbaggers. And I mean, even though I think Trump has his problems and his shady connections and everything, I mean, he still does point out a lot of this stuff in Washington. But the thing is, his supporters, he's preaching to the choir on Twitter already at this point. And, his supporters, they take that and they're like, oh, yeah, these Democrat politicians are corrupt. And then, Republicans are doing the same exact thing. They're doing the same exact crimes. They're using the same excuses to not get any, decent, meaningful legislation passed. Oh, and but there's always an excuse. That's the thing. There's always an excuse. Like, just like how the Democrats would always blame Bush for anything bad that was happening during Obama's term. The Republicans are blaming the Democrats for everything. It's like, I said to my father, 0% of a wall has been built. And I was like, oh, Democrats. I said, the swamp hasn't been drained. Oh, the Democrats. Hillary Clinton isn't in jail. Oh, the Democrats. And it's like, okay, well, that's like a carte blanche just to do nothing except sell billions of dollars worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia, to bully the world into accepting of the U.S.'s will and everything. So it's a sad state of affairs. I mean, like, the walls are closing in. It's getting like, I mean, the future of the show is in doubt, and not in a sense like I'm going to quit or anything, although I just decided to take a break from social media for the most part this week. It's been really nice. So I've even been neglecting the QA listeners group, but not much was on topic anyway, so I wasn't missing much. But I mean, just if you hear noise, and crashes, it's my cat running around playing with a toy. Excuse him. Give it back. Hey. All right. Well, okay. I'll play with my cat during commercial. But the future of the show is in doubt because I don't think I'd be able to get any meaningful employment at any sort of media company because things are so partisan. I mean, you're either for Trump or you're for the commies or whatever, and you're either for Kamala Harris or the Democrats, or you're either against Trump or you're with the fascists. And it's like, and it's the same thing. I mean, it's like, Campbell talks about how much better he is than the left, but I mean, he buys into the same left-right, I want to find a different word for that because he made fun of it so much, but he buys into the same dialectic as everyone else. So anyways, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about a judge signing a protective order over materials feds turn over to jailed financier Jeffrey Epstein. That's been sort of buried in the news recently. Wall Street and White House divided on pace of rate cuts. Going to be talking about Bill Weld and why he's in the news, and I'm finally going to get to this Hong Kong post-colonial theory article. I really wanted to, especially since all the protests going on in there, and the people have a huge risk of becoming just total slaves to the Chacoms. And so I think that's important news to get into. I haven't been seeing much in the regular news about it. And, I've just probably everyone's sick of hearing about the Epstein thing on this show, but mintpressnews.com did publish a following to their initial article I read last week about Gary Cohen. This one is titled, I'm not going to read, I'm going to skim through it during the commercial, but I'm not going to read as much as I did last time, but it's titled Government by Blackmail, Jeffrey Epstein, Trump's Mentor, and the Dark Secrets of the Reagan Era. So if you're into that, check it out at mintpressnews.com. I like these opening. I like doing sort of an opening monologue like that. I understand why Hannity and so many others do it instead of just doing a rambling thing, talking about the day. But this is the awkward point where I'm hoping for the music to come because it's too late to get into any articles. There's not enough time. But my drink is still not room temperature yet. That's the issue with wines and stuff, especially the cheaper kind. I got an Argentinian wine. I use it to mix it with some Mexican Coca-Cola. I think it's called like a Mocalito or something. That's what the Basque. It's a Basque drink. Anyways, a red wine mixed with cola. Anyways, this is Question Authority. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. You ain't going to make. Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
All right, and welcome back, everyone, to this edition of Pushing Authority. So now I'm just going to jump right in. And, do I want to do a last-minute edition? Or, no, it was probably covered on Free Talk Live already, so let's talk about Bill Weld here. So here we go. This was published today, and it's from CNN Politics. It's called GOP Challenger Bill Weld. And then there's a colon there because it's a quote. Trump is a, quote, raging racist. Former Massachusetts governor and long-shot candidate for the Republican nomination for President Bill Weld. I just want to say he hasn't been governor since like for 20 years or something. That's the only thing he's ever done, right? They keep saying, oh, former Massachusetts governor Bill Weld. And it's like, well, they keep saying that because he hasn't done any better. Like I think I saw, it was an article by Howie Carr. Yeah, he was governor from 91 to 97. And this article written by Howie Carr, I believe, said that, Bill is past his prime and he's considered washed up, I think it's called. And it's like, he used to be a fun guy to be with. They drink together. He's the only person other than his own brother-in-law who died from alcoholism that Donald Trump, no, not brother-in-law, Trump's brother died from alcoholism. And Weld is the only other person who Trump ever called an alcoholic. But anyways, I digress. So, and I think this just shows how, like, how either out of touch he is, or just how unoriginal or out of ideas. But I mean, it's like, Trump's racist. What, I guess, does that get him his card or something, his CNN card? What? All right, my cat's jumping onto the fridge now, knocking shit over. Anyways. Quote, Donald Trump is a raging racist. Okay, he's a complete and thoroughgoing racist. And he made that choice, a long time ago when he was engaged in the housing business in New York with his father, Weld said, speaking at the NAACP convention in Detroit on Wednesday. Oh, there we go. Okay, he's pandering to the black vote. He added, which Trump does too also. He added, quote, the National Republican Party has a choice, and a lot of them like to think that it's a political choice, but it's not a political one. It's a moral one. All right, so now I think this shows how out of touch with the Republican base Bill Weld is, trying to shame people into voting for him. When, I mean, they already, sure as hell, they already get enough of that from the left, so now it's coming from the right. I mean, like, maybe I don't know, maybe it's just a waste of time for me to even be talking about Bill Weld, because, obviously he's not going to become president or get anything significant done in the primaries, but it should be interesting. So he continues, quote, unless the Republican Party in Washington expressly reject the racism of Donald Trump, they're going to come to be universally viewed as a party of racism in America, the long-shot challenger to Trump said. Weld's comments come a week after Trump lodged racist attacks against Democratic reps. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez... Oh, okay, so this is CNN editorializing on what they're calling a news article. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez of New York, Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, and Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts when he tweeted that they should, quote, go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came. Which, in my opinion, is a reasonable request. The tweets were widely condemned, but okay, so we're just going into that. Weld, the former two-term Republican governor of Massachusetts, officially announced his primary challenge to Trump in April, making him the president's only Republican opponent so far in the 2020 election. In 2016, Weld was the vice presidential nominee of a Libertarian Party ticket with former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson. And where he, when he pretty much all but endorsed Hillary Clinton and, did the same thing, called Trump a racist, and he made more of a case to vote for Clinton than to vote for his own fucking running mate. Weld is a staunch critic of the president, telling CNN's Jake Tapper on The Lead in April that it would be a, quote, political tragedy and he would fear for the republic if the country had 6 more years of Trump as president. And prodded by the release of redacted version of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's, Weld ratcheted up the rhetoric against the president, calling for his resignation. If Donald Trump is an American patriot, he should resign from office, Weld wrote. Anyway, so that's him. That's, sad old man trying to become relevant. So now here we go, back in more Trump news. Getting back in, this is from Fox now, right? Want to take a visit to the right side here, CNN's right-wing doppelganger. Except I will give Fox that at least they do label their shows as, like, opinion or editorials instead of CNN where, like, they would have their hosts like Jake Tapper or Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper and, Wolf Blitzer. They would just, like, although Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon are the worst, and, when they're not flirting on the air with each other, but they would just editorialize for like an hour and call it news. It's pretty much what this show does, except not as entertaining. Justin Hawkins, who's, some contributor for whatever reason, is apparently famous enough among Fox circles to have his name put before Trump in the headline. Trump, Republicans are caving on budget. Again, socialists are taking advantage. So this is an opinion piece. Republicans love to talk about, quote, fiscal responsibility, but when push comes to shove, many put politics over America's growing debt crisis. Someday, perhaps soon, they're going to regret it. The Democratic-controlled House of Representatives voted 284 to 149 Thursday to approve a budget and debt deal supported by President Trump. Despite the president's backing, most House Republicans voted against the measure, and most Democrats voted for it. The party was split The party split was 219 Democrats voting to approve the deal and 16 Democrats voting against it. On the other side of the aisle, only 65 Republicans voted in favor of the budget and debt deal, while 132 voted against it. The legislation extends the nation's debt ceiling through 2021 and increases spending for defense and domestic programs over the next 2 years. So I don't know if the domestic programs are what Trump is going to call his infrastructure program, but I mean, I think this is just so ridiculous that he's giving more and more money to the Defense Department. When, one, there's still plenty of, of budget misuse in it, like $13,000 toilet seats, $5,000 hammers, all that shit that they do where they, spend more than their budget allows so they get more money the next year. And not even to mention that he signed that terrible omnibus bill that he said he would never pass another bill like that ever again, but it got him the military funding this country, quote, so desperately needed to be the world's policeman. And, okay, so what happened to that money, Trump? So ridiculous. Anyways. The measure would prevent the Defense Department and domestic agencies from being hit with $125 billion in automatic spending cuts under a 2011 budget deal. By allowing the federal government to continue running up the debt, lawmakers who have voted in favor of increased government spending have done more than simply act irresponsibly. As I explained below, they have aided socialists, albeit unknowingly, in their pursuit to convince Americans that debt and deficits don't matter. Oh yeah, Trump is the worst at that. He's like, just print the money, and you know who is, pushing that line too. Jones, the fat man, is pushing that. We're going to be getting into that and more when we come back. This Questioning Authority, don't go away.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
All right, and welcome back everyone to Pushing 40 Live, and I'm just going to dive right into this article. It's just getting good. If you're just joining us, I'm talking about... it's an opinion piece on Fox, foxnews.com, about how the Republicans are turning their back on their fiscal conservative roots and are, albeit unknowingly, aiding socialists. They pretty much are socialists. They just want socialism for different things. The Republicans want corporate and military socialism, while the Democrats want chicken feed socialism, which is the welfare programs, and the rest of the money goes to corporate socialism as well. And so, the Republican-controlled Senate is expected to approve a budget legislation in a week ahead. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has become involved with negotiations with the White House from the start. There's no point in lambasting Democrats on the budget agreement. If you've paid any attention at all to U.S. politics over the past couple of decades, you know Democrats don't care about deficit and debt to fund ever-expanding big government federal programs. But Republicans should know better. They're supposed to, yes, Grandma, they're supposed to represent the party of fiscal restraint and limited government. They've been promising voters to rein in Washington's out-of-control drug-like addiction to debt in election after election campaign. And yet here they are, once again agreeing to dramatically increase the already gargantuan $22.5 trillion national debt. The Committee for Responsible Federal Budget projects the new agreement, if approved by the Senate, would add $1.7 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. Even worse, many in the Republican leadership are celebrating this national travesty. McConnell said he was really impressed by the way the White House has handled this really challenging situation, or however you pronounce his goofy accent. Following the House vote, Trump thanked members of Congress on Twitter, writing, quote, I am pleased to announce the House has passed our budget deal, 284 to 149. Great for our military and our vets. A big thank you. I still got to work on a Trump impression. It's true that there was a sizable group of House Republican lawmakers who voted against the deal, including Representative Thomas Massey, who attempted to change the title of the legislation before it passed to the Bipartisan Budget Act from the Bipartisan Budget Act to the Kick the Can Down the Road Act. Unsurprisingly, the effort failed. But even many of these Republicans aren't acknowledging just how dangerous the growing national debt is, especially in light of the fact that the socialists have openly been discussing how to use ever larger national debt to seize control of the economy under a once obscure idea called the, quote, modern monetary theory. If you haven't heard of MMT yet, you soon will. It's the economic theory of choice among many in the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, which is all of them. And its radical principle, I'd say, there's I mean, we're all pretty much socialists. I mean, most politics in this country who are supporting the status quo are, to some degree or another, socialists. But it's like, you know, with the Democrats, you have, you know, one end, the criminal mafia aspect. So the people like, you know, Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Don Blumenthal, probably Adam Schiff. And then on the other side, you have, like, the people who, you know, the radicals who actually believe in all this horseshit, like, you know, the squad. At least that's my take of it. But even, so according to supporters of MMT, the national debt and deficits don't matter because the federal government controls a currency and can simply print whatever money it needs to pay off the debt it owes. And I've heard libertarians actually suggest this, saying this is why Ron Paul is wrong, and you know, silver and gold are never going to go up because the government, and the dollar is never going to crash just because the government can do whatever it wants to the currency. I mean, I'm starting to lean towards that way also, not thinking that the dollar's never going to collapse, but thinking, I mean, you know, like, I don't really care about spending anymore because, you know, the debt's never going to be paid off traditionally in any method that you or I could think of. Probably. I mean, you know, it's either going to default or we're going to do convert to a new currency or there's going to be a collapse or something.